What is up, everyone, on Instagram and on Facebook? We are going to test this out and see if it works. I am here with my amazing client, Alex, who is a graduate of the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind. And she also went into Momentum Mastermind. And so we are going to have a conversation about how she went from having inconsistency in her business, inconsistent client attraction, not having a clear message, to now we were just jamming behind the scenes. How she feels so relaxed in her business. She's just chilling. She's attracting clients. She just sold 2 spots for her retreat today. And I just want everyone to hear her interview and just really understand like where she was at, because some of you think that's just so impossible. And I want you to see her as testimony that everything that you want is also possible. If you want a relaxed, delicious, premium coaching business, it's available to you. So Alex, hello. Go ahead and introduce yourself so that everyone can get to know you while I share this in the internet groups.
In the internet, in the interwebs.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex. I got to be one of Juliana's clients. I think it was for a year and a half, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
A long time. And it's super special to be here because she definitely held me through a lot of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship to create the stabilization that I have now. So I'm excited to talk about what that is. For me, I help people who are transitioning out of their careers and want to find their purpose. And I couldn't even say that in a sentence before I met Juliana. So we'll talk
Ah,
about that.
oh my God. Okay, so let's just talk about where were you at when you joined the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind? Like, where were you at in your business?
So before that, I was experiencing these months where it'd be like a massive influx of cash and then like crickets the next month. And I had a ton of resistance towards social media. But I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is that anytime someone was like, Alex, what do you do? I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. And I went from feeling like this general life coach who can do so many things to realizing that I actually had like a system and a process and all these things. But before that, I felt pretty lost in terms of like how I was packaging myself and how I was branding myself,
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what?
amongst many other things.
Yeah. So let's talk about like what happened when you joined, because people want to know like what are the things that you did to have a relaxed business. Let's talk about what a relaxed business is. What does it look like for you? Like, tell us a little bit about the end result so then we can look at the process, how you got there.
Yeah. So right now, I was thinking about this morning before we got on the call that I just fully trust my ability to find and sign clients.
Mm.
Like that used to be such a worry for me, and now I'm just like, I know that I'm good at what I do. I know that they're coming. I know that I have a process that works and gets repeatable results. Like I just feel so calm. Whereas in the past, I was trying to convince myself that this was possible, and now I'm just like I wake up every day knowing that I have this safety because I know how to sign and attract clients. So that's the biggest thing, the greatest gift.
Oh my God. And that just feels like my whole body just relaxed in like, ooh. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so delicious. Okay. And so what happened? What did you do in order to get there? Like what were some of the hurdles that you had to get over? I mean, obviously we worked for such a long time. I mean, it feels like such a long time in such a short time. But what were some of the things that you remember being like, I just don't think that I can get behind this, or I don't think that I can believe this, or what were some of the hurdles to get there?
Yeah, so many hurdles, so many challenges. I think one of the biggest things is that my emotions were ruled by my business. And so, like, if
Mm,
I had a good month, I'd be like high on life and I could really trust myself to sign clients. And then if I had a month where I wasn't having as many lead generation conversations, then I'd feel really low
right.
and stressed. And I was just riding this emotional roller coaster. And so, you really helped me step off that and start to like become the observer and realize that beyond all of it, I am still safe And as soon as I started focusing on that safety outside of my business, I feel like everything in my business started changing. So that was one major thing.
Mhm.
The second thing that helped me feel relaxed was learning about copywriting and how to actually do it. And it was through like learning, like now I can write posts and I read them and I'm like, man, that's a good post. That's really valuable. And I'm not even overthinking, did I word this in the right spot or put
Right.
this, like, should I have put that there? I just really believe that my message is magnetic and the value that I create online is really potent. And I feel like because I trust that skill set, that has also made me feel really confident in my ability to attract clients.
So good. Oh my God. I love that. Okay. So mindset, copy, and let's talk a little bit about what initially you thought you were going to get out of the mastermind, and then what did you end up getting out of it?
What did I think? It was so long ago.
I know.
I think like this is kind of a funny thing to say, but I think when I first joined, I was really focused on like money and like forcing this big win to prove something in
Oh,
a weird way. And now I'm more focused on like my joy in my business, and money comes as a result of that. And so instead of like chasing after that win, it became like, oh, I'm doing this because I love it and because it's the thing that like lights me up in life and feels like it's my purpose, and money comes as a result of me living from that space, whereas like the reverse was coming from scarcity and was coming from like this like need to have money to feel safe. And so I feel like my whole, like the way I celebrated my business changed. I
mm,
restructured my offers and that changed. And one of the things that I love that you stand for is simplicity, because that's one of my core values as well.
yeah.
And so I used to do this thing where I would like change the offer depending on who I was talking to. And now I'm like, this is it. This is how it works. And I have two offers and it feels so simple, which is probably one of the biggest shifts that's also allowed me to create more of a sense of safety too, is because like the whole funnel works. My messaging is clear, my offer is super clear, and then my clients get results from that, which fuels my business. So,
Totally. Oh my God, it's so good. Okay. I have so many questions because I remember, not so many questions, but things that I know people would love to know. I remember there was a time when you were going through a lot in your life. I mean, last year there was just a lot going on. And there were just, can you talk a little bit about what was the process, or how did you feel when you were getting coached and you were kind of like pushing through your own resistance and learning the difference between quitting because something is feeling hard in our lives, or our business is feeling hard, or staying in momentum at a pace that is right for us? Can you talk a little bit about that?
yes. Well, obviously, since we worked together for a year and a half or whatever, a lot of life happened during that span of time. And yeah, I went through some really big personal challenges. And, I kept thinking, like, okay, I could quit right now, but then, like, what's that going to do? Nothing. It's just going to, like, prove my mental stories to be correct or whatever. But I think the biggest thing was that, it was just funny. I remember when I wrote my sales pages, I had so much resistance the entire time. And then it was my first time ever putting out a sales page where I didn't get on a single discovery call and enrolled 5 people? And
Right.
so I was like, if I would have listened to that resistance, I wouldn't have created the sales page. And then I wouldn't have signed those clients in that way. And so it was really a matter of discernment of being like, okay, I'm choosing my vision over my circumstances.
Yeah.
And honestly, my business was kind of this thing that grounded me amidst all of the personal
Mm,
changes that I was going through as well, which is kind of interesting because entrepreneurship can feel like such an up and down. But I think like as I focused, had my business be my goal, it helped me just like kind of distract myself in a way from the other stuff, or not overanalyze and overthink and be in it so much. But at the same time, I still got to honor my process and timing, and it wasn't like I was overriding myself.
Yeah, exactly. It was such a beautiful process, like journey to witness. I like just you're like one of my favorite. I don't want to say favorite clients to coach because I don't have favorites.
We
But
heard it
it's
though.
like
We heard it.
did I just say that? Oh no, no, cut. We're gonna edit this. But it's like you're such a premium client, and you just take on the coaching and you listen, and then you ponder, you are open and available to receive a new perspective, and it's like such a co-creation to be
Mhm.
able to, like all the results that you created are really your result. I just kind of like infused a little bit of options that you could think about. I'm like, how about this option, how about that option, and it just makes it so fun to coach you.
Mhm.
Okay,
Aw.
so what is something we were talking about mind so the mindset around money and like how you approach your business shifted, your copywriting, and what would you say is something else that you did in order to have this relaxed premium coaching business going from feeling like scarcity and all those things? What was another thing that was important for you to create that result?
One of the other big things is that I realized that I can do things in my own way. And I think that's what we talked about in my last client spotlight interview is like I'm a bit rebellious and sometimes I see these like cookie cutter processes and I'm like, that doesn't fully resonate with me. And what I really love is you encouraged me to like listen to that or lean into an edge of like, oh, I've never heard anyone do a 3-day challenge on that. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
explore. And so I feel like I had it felt good to trust myself in that way and to trust my own creative ideas.
Yeah.
But I think bigger than any of that is one of the things I know about myself is that I really value relationships. And so the way that I build my business is like referrals, relationships, caring for people in my life, and like networking. And so it wasn't just a strategy of posting and hoping and like, okay, please someone sign up for my program now. I feel like I opened up to trying new things like doing the 3-day challenge. Or once my message was clear, I went to a networking event and my message landed so deeply with people because of that. And so, and then also focusing on things like client delivery and making sure that my clients are like really having their needs met in my program. And then I get more referrals from that. And so
Yeah.
I feel like not just solely focusing on Instagram, but really encouraging, like you really encouraged me to just try all these other things. And then those other things made me feel like I had this abundance of leads. And
Yeah.
then when I have I realize that the times I feel scarce in my business are where I have that thought of like, where is my next lead going to come from? Yet
Right.
if I'm always in conversation and I'm always planting these little seeds, then I feel the abundance of all the people that could work with me. And
Yeah.
then my job, like you always say, is just to make it easy for them to do so. And
Yeah.
like that just feels so good.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. Thank you for sharing. Okay, and I want to just ask you because you were a client for so long,
Mhm.
and I think that it's so interesting when we have I mean, I love long-term relationships with my clients, and I also whenever the client feels complete or we feel complete, like it's beautiful, we continue our journeys and separately. And so, what is it like to be coached by me after um having experienced it for so long? Like, what is it like, so that people understand a little bit about what goes inside of the both of the programs, both in Momentum and Magnetize, because I think it's so important to choose the right coach for you. And so
Mhm.
a little bit about what tell the people, what is it like?
So I think I'm going to start backwards by saying I think it's a mark of a good coach when by the end of your coaching container, you're like, I got this. I trust myself. And I feel like that's why I'm experiencing so much peace is because I learned so many skill sets from working with you. And so there's this amazing mix that you have where your content and your program is the best that I've ever seen. And I've taken a lot of coaching programs. So just like if I had access to the modules alone, I feel like I could experience so much success. But then having you to see me and like my values as a coach and then help me apply it in a way that works for me, it feels like really, really empowering. So there's that. And then there's also like a loving kick in the ass when needed of being like, hey, you're just being super resistant and in your shit. And this is what I see for you. Like, you didn't even say it that way, but
Yeah.
um, and then also I think what another thing that I just feel called to share is like there would be times where I was being really hard on myself, and then I would come to you, and then I would expect to receive like a you're just in your shit, blah blah blah, and then instead you'd be like, wow, you're holding a lot right now, like that makes sense. And I feel like you really practice the emotional elasticity, and so you help me really do that in the coaching container as well.
Mm, I love that so much. Can you tell people what the concept of emotional elasticity is? Like how do you interpret it?
Yeah. So I think it's just allowing yourself to feel your feelings and still acknowledge what's there. Like you don't have to override it. Yet there's a difference in how long you choose to stay in it. And so it's like honoring the process you're in, being with it as long as you need, and then also having like a light at the end of the tunnel
Mhm.
and making sure that you stay in the game. And I love this thing that our mutual coach, Preston Smile, says, which is choose your vision over your circumstances. And I feel like emotional elasticity is being like, I know I'm having this emotional experience right now, and this is where I'm going. And I'm going to keep choosing that with my actions, with my thoughts, all the things. Um, and keep trusting in that, even when I might not have evidence yet.
So good. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to talk about is we did a lot of recognition at the end towards the program towards the last few months of like how mature you have become as an entrepreneur. So can you speak into like the evolution of like your maturity? Because I remember telling you you're maturing. This is what it looks like to mature. You're like, what? So like what are some of the practical things that you have now in your business after having worked together? And also maybe some internal shifts, which you've talked about a lot today. But what was that evolution so that people understand that there's more than just your message that we work on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I wish I would have even started with this because this feels like the biggest win from our time together. I think first off, being around you, a woman who's like done the thing, it has the business, and then hearing some of your stories around like the behind the scenes made me feel so much better about what I was going through. And one of the things I remember is when I had resistance towards writing the sales page, you're like, look, girl, same. I have resistance towards going live on my stories. I have resistance towards this. And I'm like, what? It looks so easy for you. And you're like, a part of maturing as a business owner is knowing that sometimes you don't feel like doing it and you do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
Even us with technical difficulties today, it's like sometimes you have stuff that comes up, but you just keep choosing again the vision with your actions. And I think a few key pieces of this were stepping off the emotional roller coaster
Yeah.
and being like, my emotions cannot rule my business. And let me tell you, since doing that, since stepping off, I feel so much more fulfilled, so much happier. Like, oh, everything in my life just works better when I'm not in that like stress state.
Yeah.
The second is really coming into that deep intrinsic self-trust of like I trust myself to find clients, and I trust my like I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm provided for.
Yeah.
And as soon as I believe that and like I operated from that place, I also noticed that like my external world shifted
Mm.
in reflection of my internal world.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are so many things like showing up online consistently, even when I don't feel like it, or writing posts ahead of time. I think that was one of the biggest things
Yeah,
actually you
I
helped me with. It just
know.
like is planning ahead.
Oh
Like
my
planning ahead has changed my whole life. I mean, I
God.
have copy written for days. Writing copy is now easy for me. And then there's some times where I feel creatively blocked, but it doesn't matter because I already wrote copy beforehand. And so like I'm just not doing things last minute,
Yeah.
which has honestly changed the game. And I feel like even you're so organized, and I that came to me through osmosis where now I'm super organized and just on top of things. And when you play that game, it's so much easier to be relaxed rather than being like, what am I going to say on Instagram this morning that's going to convert into clients or
Right.
whatever? Yeah.
I feel like this should have been the part. We're gonna edit this, so this is the
Yes,
part that we talk about in the beginning because this is like
for sure.
So good. That
Yeah.
is literally you decided that you were not going to be the reactive entrepreneur, that you were going to be like the mature entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And you're such a creative person. And I think so many people watching, they're like, but I'm so creative. I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to do that. And it's like, yes, you can do the things, but what is the price of that? What is the cost of that? And is that what is going to be long term the most supportive approach? And I just love how you really saw that and prepared and decided to be like, okay, I'm going to write things ahead of time. Wow, I'm going to go to Japan and I'm going to have things already done. And you took a vacation and then things were already done and you were enjoying your vacation. Like, I'm like, yes, that's the life, you know?
Oh, there's so many things. I'm like having all these examples come back, but that was definitely one of them. Like having someone else run my social media while I was gone, or, just again, the feeling of not having to stress because I have things in the pipeline, or restructuring my package so that I'm not stressed to find a new client every day, in order to
Or,
hit my goals.
yeah.
So there's so many like very, very tactical things. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to say is that in my time of working with you, it's not just like this emotional, I'm trying to make you feel good type of situation with a coach and make you feel good and empowered. It's like you really supported me in actually creating a business that is
Mm,
sustainable and
mm,
that feels like it's fueling itself, where I also feel empowered to run the business because I know how it works. And so there are so many strategies that I now have and things that I've implemented that feel like second nature, which maybe in the start it felt a little bit foreign.
mm, mm,
But I feel like I actually know how to run a business. And it took only, I think I've been in business like 6.5 years to get there. But a huge part was the last year and a half of working with you and actually getting to see what it takes to hold what I said that I wanted.
Oh my God, everybody needs to hear that. Everybody needs to hear that. It's so dope to see you be a business owner and an operator and a star. Like you're the star, you're the operator, and you got it and you're nailing it. You're not like, oh, I don't know how to do all of this. You're like, yep, I'm a business owner. I know how to do
Mhm,
like that.
mhm,
A mature entrepreneur. It's so dope.
mhm.
I'm just so proud of you. I'm
Thank you.
like, mic drop, everybody. That's all we need to know.
It's so crazy to think of who I was when we first started working together and to feel like I really do mean this, but who I am now is who I dreamt of being and who I hoped I would become through our work together. And now I'm like, I'm here. I totally arrived.
You arrived. You arrived.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is there anything else that feels alive in you that you'd like to share? Anything that maybe you were thinking about sharing that we haven't talked about?
No, I just really want to say that the work that we do together is so comprehensive, and that's just not something that you'll find everywhere.
Mm,
Because we talked a lot about emotions that came up on my journey, and we also talked a lot about strategy. And so I think to have both is a rare thing.
yeah.
And it's also what I feel like helped me to stabilize emotionally was having someone I could talk about my emotions with. And then it also helped me stabilize financially and from a tactical level because I had that support too. So yeah, just that's rare and it's special and I'm super grateful. So so grateful. Like I truly don't believe that I'd be where I am today if I didn't join your program. So,
I can't. I'm like dream come true for me. This is a dream
mhm.
for me, just to be able to help women like you really stabilize their financial like life, their mindset, like their marketing, just stabilize their just empower them to just be stable, and just
Mhm.
question mark out of the way of like, how do we attract premium clients? Like that doesn't have to be like a question mark. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
you
And
know.
there were times where it did feel like a big question mark, and you know that, where I was like really struggling to trust myself. And then now I'm like, wow, how times have changed from
I
implementing all of it. Yeah. And
love
that is the beauty of working with someone long term
Yeah,
because we can have 3 months together and that's great. And honestly, I think I made like 40K in whatever 3 months of working with you or something like that.
yeah.
But um you also working with you for longer, you really know me and we went through a lot together. And so you also got to see like my habits and patterns that show up
Mm,
consistently or things that I repeat over and over. So that's something else I'll say is that I really do see a lot of value in the long term.
so good, so beautiful. I could not agree more. I love that. And is there anything else? Oh, we already asked you if there's anything else. Okay, what would you say to somebody who's on the fence? I mean, you already kind of did it, but let's
Yeah.
just for anyone who's like, I don't know.
And you're like, I don't know. I'd be like, have you looked at all of her Spotlight series yet? I just am genuinely wondering at this point what it is that you're waiting for to feel clear. Yeah, because if I don't know why you wouldn't know at this point. I mean, for me, I didn't even have a sales call with you either. I just
No?
enrolled to work with you because of what you posted online. And that's the kind of rapport that I want to have with people that I work with too.
Yeah, totally. Oh, so good. Alex, is just such an honor and such a special moment to be able to have this conversation because you're just
Mhm.
we've gone through some shit. We've gone through some shit, you know?
For sure.
Yeah, you see me go through so much. Like last year was like a lot for me, and you were there and I coached you. And I think it's also such an example of like we can still show up so big for our clients, even if we are going through our own stuff. And I just love that you were part of that period of time in my life when I was going through so much internally, but I just didn't even, I don't think I even necessarily share the whole picture, and I still just showed up
Mm-mm.
like nothing was happening. And
And
you
I
cared.
complimented you. Remember? On one of our calls, I was like, I just want to say that, like, you gave us a little snippet one day, and I was like, I just want to say I had no idea that that was going on because, like, you didn't make it about you. Not that you can't share or whatever, but like, you kept it so professional and, like, really, really made it a point to serve your clients, even when you were going through really, really objectively challenging things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just love and appreciate you so much, and it's just such a special.
Mm.
It was an important year in my life, and you being in the container was just like the perfect combination of clients to just be able to navigate everything through. And so you're such a beautiful premium client, human,
Mm.
delicious soul. I just have like no words to ever like describe. Like Alex is the best. So
Mm.
when I
Mm.
work with Alex, I just couldn't. I could not say enough times how good of a coach she is, and
Mm.
how much I would trust anybody. I would trust her to coach my clients. Like she
Mm.
is an incredible coach. You will not hide from her coaching, and she's just so loving and devoted to her clients. And so if you ever get a chance to work with her, I would just say like you won the lottery. So
Mm. Oh, thank you. Thank you. There's so much mutual love.
I know, I know. All
Mm.
right, my love. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I just want to recommend everyone to go and apply for the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind. We have some bonuses available. Message me if you don't know what they are. You can get, I actually can't remember the bonuses right now, so I'm not going to talk about them. Just message me if you are curious about the bonuses. We're having the biggest launch we've ever had, and everyone's just going for it. So really just is a matter of time. Make sure that you secure your spot right now because it's going to sell out faster than ever before. And if you have any questions, just message me or just go binge on all the testimonials because that's really what speaks for their testimonials speak for themselves. So oh my god. Oh, Jess, she's telling me 45 my copywriter is in the chat. She's like, there's a 45-minute messaging mastery call when you pay in full. That's the bonus.
Shout out, Jess.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Jess. Love you so much. All right, Alex, you're the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you.
okay, let me end that one there and then end this one here.